surprises, a lot of bad surprises. It's people that you would never think. I want to thank Attorney General Pam Bondi, who, by the way, yesterday was incredible in Congress. It was amazing, and she just did it from the heart. And the brain,
from the heart,
very smart, in all fairness. But she did it from the heart, and she did it an incredible. Everybody was talking about it. She exposed some of these fake senators, these terrible senators, people like Blumenthal that had a phony war record. For 20 years, he talked about what a hero he was, and it turned out he never went to Vietnam. For 20 years, he talked about being a hero in Vietnam. Then it was exposed when he said what platoon he was with, and it was exposed that somebody was watching from that particular platoon. They said he was never with us. And then he went out and he cried, and he was ready to drop out of the election. And
would you be willing to do an exercise with me?
People like Pam, and he starts criticizing her, and she's a patriot. They ought to do something with that. You know, we have a young congressman that's right now in jail for lying about where he went to college and other things. It was, you know, frankly not good. It was pretty bad. But it was nothing compared to Blumenthal. I mean, what Blumenthal did, he was for 20 years a hero, a great war hero. And then he sits back and, you know, sanctimonious kind of a guy, looks down, how dare you do this to the American public, you know? What a fake. But I thought Pam was incredible yesterday, as well as Secretary Kristi Noem, who's really out there courageously, and I appreciate it, Kristi, amazing what you're doing. FBI Director Kash Patel, who's really coming up with some great information, Kash. It's great. Keep it coming, because there's plenty of it.
Earlier. I appreciate y'all.
Deputy Attorney General, one of the best lawyers you'll ever find. Todd Blanche, who I know personally is a good lawyer because I'm here. Thank you very much, Todd. Good job, Todd. Let me ask Attorney General Bondi to say a few words, and then we'll follow it up with Secretary Noem and Director Patel. And we're going to have some of the people around the table, very courageous people. And they're going to be talking, journalists, almost all. And they're going to be talking, and we'll take some questions from the press at the end. Okay, Pam, please.
Thank you, President Trump. And as you made clear, Antifa is a domestic left-wing terrorist organization. We've seen them on video for years because they wanted to be seen and they got away with it. They beat journalists, they attack courthouses, they attack police stations, they dox and assault our law enforcement officers. The Biden administration let them commit these crimes with total impunity for years. So did Democrat leaders like Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson. Last week, independent journalist Nick Sortor was arrested just for protecting himself against Antifa. I saw it online and I called Nick. I couldn't believe what happened. He did all this just trying to save our American flag from being burned. He was pushed down and assaulted, yet the local police arrested Nick, not the Antifa thugs who did this.
That's some crap. That's some crap.
Antifa feels
we saw that. I actually made a video about that stream. Hold on.
Open.
I got a top Pam Bondi there because she's full of crap. Nick went out to Portland and basically said, hey, we see the tent where these guys are at. I'm going to go through with my American flag. And he waited and he walked all the way up there and then basically ambushed the people for an altercation. Turned around just to say, hey, yes, Antifa's attacking me, Antifa's attacking me. They pulled his fucking flag, damn near ripped his flag to threads, but he walked away with no bruises, no nothing, right? We streamed it. We were here. We had about 31,000 people on stream watching this nonsense, right? Nick is lying. The conservatives are lying. If you go and if you see people having a protest, no lie, 10:30 at night, and you have no issue down there, why the fuck are you going down there with the American flag to provoke these people? He was about to get his ass beat by these folks online. And the crazy part of it is, it's all just been this narrative on Antifa, but the reality of it is, it's only within 3 blocks. It's not all of Portland. It's within 3 blocks, right by the ICE station, the ICE substation. I'm not saying it's right, but because when they pushed up on the federal property, the officers came out and said, hey, get your ass up back off the easement. So everything the Attorney General is saying right now is some bullshit, to be respectful. Complete bullshit. Because Nick went out there provoking those people, and I honestly say, you can't go in people's shit and provoke them and expect not to get hit in the mouth. But everything she's saying here is some complete nonsense. I saw it. We were streaming it. Because every night they kept saying, hey, Portland's live, Portland's live. Okay, cool, let's get live. And we saw it, and it was funny. But we do have a video. I'm going to tag it in the comments, but make sure y'all go check that out, because you'll actually see how he provoked the whole situation and basically came out there to say, hey, yeah, what's up? Like, I bet y'all won't. And they fucked around and found out. That's what happened.
Because weak Democrats have turned a blind eye to their actions.
They fucked around and found out.
Their hatred for President Trump and for law and order agendas fuels their violence. We've seen more than 1,000%.
It wasn't even violent. They hit him for real.
Increase in attacks against our ICE agents since.
The other part of it is Nick didn't even get knocked out. It was somebody else who got knocked out. So he went and started the fight, provoked these people. Then somebody else got knocked out and he laughed about it. That's the reality of the shit. Like, let's be for real.
January 20th. Secretary Noem is out there fighting for you firsthand to keep our federal officers safe, to keep our federal buildings safe, and we're not going to have it anymore, these thugs. We saw what's happening in Portland and Chicago, and you saw what happened in Dallas. No longer. This is not activism.
Not lawless, it's bullshit.
It's anarchy. We can't and we will not let masked terrorists burn our buildings, attack our law enforcement, and intimidate our communities. Under your leadership, President Trump, we're deploying the full might of the federal law enforcement to crack down on Antifa and other domestic terrorist organizations led by Stephen Miller. And Stephen, thank you for everything you're doing. Last week, I issued a memo ordering our federal law enforcement agents, DEA, FBI, U.S. Marshals, and ATF to protect ICE officers from Antifa and other radical left-wing violence. Director Patel has been going non-stop. He and Deputy Attorney General Blanche were in Chicago yesterday. While Secretary Noem was in Portland, we are around this country fighting against this domestic terrorism. We had Apple and Google take down the ICE block apps.
But the app still works.
They continue to comply with that. It's threatening the safety of our federal law enforcement officers.
The app still works. If you don't delete it, the app still works.
Criminals we can see in the streets. Fighting crime is more than just getting the bad guy off the streets. It's breaking down the organization brick by brick. Just like we did with cartels. We're going to take the same approach, President Trump, with Antifa. Destroy the entire organization from top to bottom. We're going to take them apart. Thanks to your bold leadership and the designation of Antifa as a terrorist organization, which is exactly what they are, Americans will no longer tolerate their unhinged violence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pam. Kristi.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for hosting today and focusing on Antifa and the terrorists that they are. Let's not make any mistake. These individuals do not just want to threaten our law enforcement officers, threaten our journalists, and the citizens of this country. They want to kill them. Their agenda is to destroy the American people and our way of life, and this president is standing in their way. He is stopping them from bringing their death and their destruction to the individual citizens in this country that just want to raise their kids and their grandkids in peace and in safety. I want to also thank everyone around this table for being so bold and so brave, for standing up and recognizing the threat that Antifa is to our way of life. By recognizing how advanced they are, how sophisticated their networks are, how they've infiltrated our entire country, and we're seeing them play out with their tactics from city to city, and how they have built out their funding mechanisms. And sir, I also want to thank our Treasury Secretary for his work in getting to the bottom of these funding mechanisms and individuals who are perpetuating this violence on our American cities. I was in Portland yesterday and had the chance to visit with the governor of Oregon and also the mayor. They're in town, and they are absolutely covering up the terrorism that is hitting their streets. While you talked about some of the stories of our ICE agents, our Border Patrol agents, how they have been attacked, how they have been shot at, injured, the damage that they've done, these leaders in these local cities, along with Pritzker and Johnson, ignore what's going on, or, sir, they're helping Antifa cover it up. We have arrested dozens of individuals that are Antifa members or affiliated with them, and I want to thank our Attorney General for prosecuting them and making sure they never see the light of day again.
The problem I have is, what does Antifa look like? because they say it, but I don't think it's like, you know, when you have the Unabomber and other things, it's like you get a description, you get a profile of what Antifa looks like. What does Antifa look like, chat? Because all I hear and see is Antifa, and I went down and I didn't want to go down. I watched the Portland protest. You know what I saw? A lot of caucasity. I only seen probably a handful of brothers out there, maybe 5 in like 2-3 nights. So it's not black people of color out there, right? So what does Antifa look like? I just want to honestly make sense of it. I'm not trying to put a race or what does it look like, because I want to help identify them if they're a problem, right? Let's be for real.
Sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them. They are just as dangerous. They have an agenda to destroy us, just like the other terrorists we've dealt with for many, many years. And today is the day that we have a president that won't tolerate it and will stand up and fight for the American people. So thank you for being here, for being so bold, and for standing in the gap at such a time as this. It will matter, it will make a difference, and your life will be one of significance because of what you've done today. So with that, God bless you, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Kash, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
the American people gave you a sweeping mandate in your victory in this election cycle, and they demanded safety and security for our citizens. And your administration, with your leadership, has provided us with the resources that we need, which is a whole of government approach to go after criminals absolutely everywhere, not just outside of this country, but within this country. And that takes a whole of government approach. The interagency seated up here with the Department of Homeland Security, our Attorney General, our Deputy Attorney General, and your White House staffers, including Stephen Miller's leadership, has allowed us to go out there and map out these networks. What we are doing at the FBI is simple. It does not require rocket science. We are following the money. Money never lies. And that's what it's going to take to bring down this network of organized criminal thugs, gangbangers, and yes, domestic terrorists, because that's what they are. They are harming everyday citizens in every single one of our communities. And the folks you see here on the right and left, they're some of the bravest men and women we have today. They're reporting the stories live time because the mainstream media won't cover it. They're putting their lives on the line. They're standing up for the flag. The least we can do is stand up for them. So you have my thanks. I read more of your stories than I do theirs because you guys are putting out the truth. And we deserve a country where you are protected as equally as they are. We, in this FBI, will go after with the criminals with a vengeance. We will not rest until we find every single seed, money, donor, organization, and funding mechanism that we have. And I want to echo the Secretary's comments on Scott Bessent, who's allowing us to map out these networks through their financial criminal activities, which has been going on for decades. And I would like to remind the American public, they built this disease temple of corruption over decades. And in 8 short months, Mr. President, you have crippled their foundation because of your leadership here, because of the interagency, because of people like Deputy Attorney General Blanche, and because of Attorney General Pam Bondi's fearless leadership to go after criminals wherever they are. They will not be able to hide. They were able to hide and conspire with prior administrations, and we are exposing their corruption from within. And we will go to every single city in this country under Operation Summer Heat and the other operations we are doing at the FBI to bring these criminals to justice. We will arrest every single one of them from whatever perch you sit in, private or public, no matter how your goal or your ambition is. It will be crushed by the Constitution because the American people deserve law and order, and that's what we're going to give you.
I said it yesterday on yesterday's stream, right? Not to pause Kash Patel, it looked like it was a great speech, it looked amazing, right? But after a while, how many reminders do the American people need about what you're doing if you're doing this every week? Every speech, President Trump is reminding you how horrible the Biden administration was. Cool, we get it. We got it for 10 months. We got it for the whole 11 months you were campaigning. Almost 24 months of the same message. We're on the same page now. We get it. Okay, cool. It was fucked up. You came to clean it up. Great. But how many press conferences and meetings do we have to talk about the same thing? Because even the Antifa piece is not as if it's an openly new conversation. Portland, Chicago, Memphis, all the other places, it's been reiterated over and over, even through the government shutdown, what's been happening. And I do think, collectively, respectfully, for a lot of the TSA agents, for a lot of the people, the federal workers that are out here, that may not be getting paid, maybe getting furloughed, maybe AI will be replacing their jobs once we decide to open the government back up. Once those 6 or 7 Democrats come across and vote for the spending plan. Right? Maybe then there'll be an issue to fix some things, but how does this roundtable today fix any of those issues? And that's the problem I have. Is like, if we're not fixing the issues for seniors right now, for community health centers, there are over, I want to say 32,000 people in Florida, maybe 200,000 people in Georgia, those two states alone, that are basically either furloughed or off their jobs right now. Do you think they give a fuck about Antifa? Being for real. If you're trying to feed your family, you think you give a shit about what's happening in Portland every night for a whole lot of people that are protesting at 10:30, 11:30, 12:30 at night? Nobody getting arrested. They're just arguing and protesting between conservatives, Free Palestine, whatever. And that's what you want to care about? People are trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills in October. And now they're listening to the FBI stuff. They dealt with the Doge stuff. It's been a series of stuff. So that all collectively, respectfully, how many times do we have to meet to talk about the same thing? This is really in corporate America why a lot of people don't even want to go back to the office, because you're going to sit me in a round table in a boardroom to talk about the goals for this month, right? Why are we talking about this? I could be in my office helping us reach these goals. Why are we sitting here having a meeting about a meeting about a meeting? This is kind of old now. Am I alone here, chat? Let me know.
Thank you very much, Kash. Great job. Maybe we'll start over here. Would any of you like to say something? Feel free. You can say it in front of a fine group of people, also journalists and reporters. You want to start?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. President Trump, members of the cabinet, really appreciate you guys bringing this together. And the fact that we are here today on such short notice shows how serious you guys are taking this issue of trans terrorists and frankly, the cities and police departments that are cooperating with Antifa, such as Portland. I mean, the Portland politicians are literally willing to sacrifice their own citizens just to appease these Antifa terrorists. It's sickening. I've seen it firsthand, obviously. When I went to jail that night, never expected it to happen. I thought that they were maybe removing me for my own safety. It never crossed my mind that I was the one that was being arrested for a crime after I was just thrown into a hole. I heard from the Department of Homeland Security after I had gotten out of jail, and one of your, I won't say exactly who it was, but somebody very close to Secretary Noem over here said that they were legitimately worried for my safety in the Portland jail. But luckily the Portland jail was, I was the only one there, essentially, because they don't actually arrest people in Portland, besides conservative journalists, I guess. So look, I'm glad that it was not a good night for me. Let's just say that. It was not fun sitting in that jail, but I'm glad to see what has come of it. And I've been able to talk to a bunch of FBI agents, ATF agents, DHS agents that I didn't even know existed
hold on.
until I went.
Frank, to be honest, wait a minute. I'm trying to improve my process. Frank, thank you for supporting the channel, taking time, tap in. Thank you. You know what we get?
Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Thank you for supporting the channel, Frank. Taking time out of your day, tapping in with your boy. Let's get back to it. I just want to take a moment to thank you and celebrate you for supporting our channel. You're the best, man.
There and went to that ICE facility, and the morale is at an all-time high. It is so exciting to see these guys know now that they have the backing of the Secretary, the DOJ, as well as the President of the United States, and they are there to do their job. They are going to fulfill this mission and deport these violent criminals. I believe one of the ones that I did a ride along with Secretary Noem yesterday, President Trump, and there was a pedophile that had come into the country 5 times over the past 7 years. 7 years, and apparently under the Biden regime that was just allowed to happen. That was fine, no problem. It's concerning to me that you're seeing the Portland Police Department, as well as the governor of Oregon and the mayor, of course, coming out and running defense for pedophiles that have entered the country illegally 5 times. It's crazy. I'm glad it's taking a front row seat in the media, and you know, they're being forced to talk about it in reality, because you know, we're the ones that were on the ground. We're the ones that are actually reporting what's going on, and you know, much of the legacy media has been either ignoring it or covering for Antifa for years now. So thank you guys so much for taking this seriously. And
yeah, this is the guy that got his flag ripped the other day. I saw it. So it was all part of the game when you think about it, for real, right? He knew he was going to be invited to the White House. He knew that Antifa was having an issue, or there were ICE raid protesters in Portland. They went down there and they streamed it, and basically they asked Nick, this guy, did you come out here to cause a problem? No, I just came out here with the flag. Okay, cool. You have First Amendment, free speech, cool. There were aggressors on the other side. There were aggressors, hey, you're a piece of we're going to basically shove that flag up here, everything else. But when he went down there, the thing about it is, a lady was standing there by the tent. You can watch the video on my channel. I did a recap of it, right? He was walking towards the tent, and he basically forced himself in the tent. The lady said, no, you're not coming in here. Well, you're not going to stop me, right? So that happens, and it's like, okay, cool. She's not supposed to let you run over her because you have your American flag. Oh, they're blocking the sidewalk. They have a tent with all their stuff here. It's almost as if, respectfully, if you go to a community event and they have permits and they have their display set up, right? You can't just go walk through their display. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it got to be some kind of cordial respect. That's basically what happened. So from there, he gets in there, they tell him no, the lighting's bad. And even before that, he told the camera guy, hey, follow me. Talk to a guy, talk about the bullshit. So all put together, it was a setup on Sunday to be at the White House on Wednesday to talk about this entire issue about Antifa. It's complete bullshit. It's bullshit to help spread the narrative because, again, what respectful man who's worried about his family, worried about his kids, worried about anything is leaving his house at 10:30 at night to go downtown and deal with some protesters? The man's American flag was damn near ripped to shreds because he wanted to be one of those ones to say something. He was bitching and moaning and crying that his flag got ripped up just for this moment. Like I said on the stream that night, we could save it and say, you know what, this is what Antifa did. This is what I did to save America. Like, bruh, why the fuck did you leave your house at 10:30 at night looking for trouble? Like, I don't leave my house after 10:30, 11 o'clock unless there's something, an emergency happening. You did this shit just to be seen with the protesters. After a while, like, listen, if I go in the hood at 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock at night, whatever the fuck happens, the fuck happens. People know what the fuck it is. But sorry for cussing. People know what it is. So for this guy to do it and now be at the White House, oh, this is a complete game. This is a complete joke. And the thing about it, like Antifa and the Democrats, to be honest and be fair, and call me Uncle Tom if you want to, I don't give a shit, right? Most of y'all never read the book. It's a fact of Antifa and these Democratic liberal protesters have no strategy to what they're doing. I even say it. What is protesting outside of ICE gonna solve every day if you don't have a solution? Like, what's the end all be all goal? Okay, they're gonna deport people. All right, cool. What action steps do we have besides protesting? Because some of the people out there with masks, so they don't get caught, they don't get doxxed, they don't basically go viral for the nonsense. And now all of a sudden, the guy who wanted to go viral for it is sitting at the White House planning an attack on the people of Portland. Because guess what? They don't know what the fuck they're doing to respond back. That's really what's happening here. Political strategy and science is the game. Most Americans need to learn how to play it.
And President Trump, you mentioned that flag. So remember, you put out a truth right after
this is the flag.
That's right. I saw that.
Took this flag from that man that was burning it in the street.
I saw it. Do you know who he is?
Oh yeah, I know exactly who it is.
So why don't you give it to Pam? Give it to the Attorney General and let's start prosecution.
That's complete bull.
Yeah.
He's lying. He's lying. The man didn't snatch the flag away from somebody burning. The man went into the tent, got his flag ripped apart, and threw it in his trunk to save it for this moment. The man is lying. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Hit the top of your screen, hit the subscribe button, man. Listen, I'll say this. I'm going to get back to Trump. People always say, hey, we're not here to hear you talk. We're here to see Trump. Well, shit, go to the White House page and watch it if you just want to hear Trump speak. You're here with me, right? But collectively, this is fake news from the Republican side. You can go back and watch the stream. You can go back. I'm going to put the clip in my damn shit. I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm telling you, they're lying.
Yeah, a second flag that he tried to burn as well. So I have two of them from the same guy.
Well, you also saw what happened when that flag started burning. Everyone went crazy. And that's when it started, when they started burning the flag. So thank you. If you could give the information, it would be great.
Absolutely.
And at least that horrible night made you famous. You got
He was
something
already
out of it.
I got a text from the President of the United States, so I appreciate that.
That may have been the
President
first
Trump,
night of
after
the
that happened,
hold on, to be
I
correct,
called
hold on.
Bernie Dill.
It could have been the first night of the protest. I seen him when his flag got ripped apart. Maybe there was another night it was burnt. I'll be respectful of that, right? But the night I saw, he was provoking people out there. So if no lie, case in point, that's why I kind of think it's a lie now thinking it through. If you went out there the first night and saved the flag from being burnt, why would you come out there with American flag the second time? To test it? Oh, you wanted to provoke. There we go.
And we opened a pattern and practice investigation into the
Gotta be-
Portland
you gotta
police
call it
very
fair and even,
publicly as to
It's
how they
bullshit.
let this happen.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, Brandy Cruz, you're gonna hear us be very fired up today, and you can tell, and it's because some of us have been covering Antifa for 15 years and have never had anyone in a position of authority even acknowledge their existence. And I'll also tell you that I think that had you not done, the single most powerful thing you've done to deal with this scourge has been acknowledging that Antifa is a real thing. I genuinely believe there would be people at these tables who would be dead today and would have been killed in Portland had you not called them a terror organization and said, we're going to bring the full weight of the federal government to bear. I talked to Katie Daviscourt in Portland the other day. She'd been assaulted all summer. And she said the same thing. They didn't seem quick to violence as soon as you made that designation. So they're thinking in their heads, they're worried. There's been 2 dozen or so arrested in Portland. They don't want to go to federal prison. There's this video of them, one of them who was in the face of an ICE agent, and then he's in custody shaking. Once you take the mask off, they're nothing. Right. And I was told by probably a dozen people not to tell you this. I'm going to tell it to you anyway, because it's relevant to what we're talking about. I'm living proof that you can recover from TDS. I had strong Trump derangement syndrome for probably 8 years. This is one of the reasons I recovered from it. And by the way, it's much better to not have TDS. I'm happier, I'm healthier, more successful. I even think I got a little more attractive after I got rid of my Trump derangement syndrome. Yes. You know, I'm a reporter in Seattle, and frankly, I could not care any less what any of you have to say about this meeting. Could not care any less. We're not here for you. I'm not here to convince any of you that Antifa is a real thing, because if you have not come to that conclusion by now, you are never going to come to that conclusion because you don't want to see it. And you're going to go and you're going to say it's a bunch of right-wing conservative influencers who are here spinning a tale. I was one of you. I was a mainstream reporter in Seattle for 10 years. I was a TV reporter on the streets doing my job, and I was still assaulted by Antifa. So it's not about being conservative. It's about people who go there and show what they're doing. And when I saw, after all those years, that the media wouldn't be honest about what was happening, that Democratic politicians wouldn't be honest about what was happening, I thought, well, gosh, if they're not being honest about that, maybe they're not being honest about President Trump either. And it opened my mind to just looking at things for what they were. And now I find you quite funny, actually. It's like I said, I'm much happier about it. But, you know, for me, again, I could not care any less the stories that they go to print. This is what I care about. We have 3.5 years. Nothing is guaranteed, although I think if Democrats keep it up, we'll probably have Republican presidents for the next 3 decades. But nothing is guaranteed, and so what I want to see over the next 3.5 years is a full court press to dismantle Antifa once and for all in a meaningful way. I know, Andy, we talked before this about some ideas. That's really what we want to. I don't care what the media says. I don't care what Democrats say. They will never wake up to this fact.
Gotta go to daycare in a bit to get my son every next 30, 40 minutes, so hopefully they get to the point of wrapping shit up. But yeah, we'll be sharing for like next 40 minutes. And I gotta go, be a dad for real.
People who are committing violent acts, and hopefully in 3.5 years, they will be a shell of their former selves.
Very close to that, and it's Antifa and many others, unfortunately. Yes. There are many others, bad ones. Most have been named terrorist organizations. There are a couple that we're going to, but I think we've got it pretty well covered. But there are many others, but very specifically today it's Antifa, and it's really bad. And we're going to get it cleaned up. Andy, do you have something? Thank you very much. I'm glad you no longer have.
So it'll be a lot of money. Quietly, hold on. There will be a lot of money in fixing the Democratic Party. But I don't think I'll see it in my lifetime, to be fair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
A lot of money
President
made
and members of the cabinet. I have a lot of gratitude and a little bit about my background. I'm born in Portland, Oregon, from there. And growing up, it's always been left-wing, very progressive, and I liked it. It had cafes and artists and those who lived a bohemian lifestyle. And in 2016, I was a graduate student at Portland State studying political science. I was an editor at the student paper there, a very progressive paper. And I was assigned to cover the election night demonstrations. Well, the elections night protests turned to riots, 3 days of violent rioting in Portland. And it was the first time that I saw groups dressed in black with their faces covered. This was 4 years before COVID. Some of them were waving the black flag of anarchism, some the red flag of Marxism. And within seconds, they would ravage one street to another, to another, to another. And the next day, I would read the legacy media, which I still read at that time and looked forward to, and I looked up to those journalists. And I was really shocked to see that the narrative was that these, in my view, anti-democratic political violence was legitimate acts of protest because people were concerned about racism or all these other lies. And so for the next 4 years, I just continued going out with my video camera. I thought,
yeah, I got you, Barton.
People can ignore what I write because of spin, but videos can quite speak for themselves. And in
but I have honestly, hold on. I have a toddler too, Barton. So a small part of it is I quietly enjoy my time before I pick them up because, you know, full-time dad, like I'm clocked in, I'll be mentally exhausted, dad nap, right? So you gotta like enjoy those little moments, be like, yeah, I'm actually working, doing what I can to provide a family or provide a roof over my head. Cause pay's monetized, you know what I'm saying? So quietly I'm making a little money doing it. So it feeds into the 7th stream income. But regardless of it, that little bit of window of time to say, hey, yeah, I'll pick them up in 30 minutes. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
It led to me,
but thank you, I appreciate
my life. I was covering another Antifa protest turned riot. At that point, had been routine in Portland, and then I was ambushed in a mob beating, and I had never been in a fight. I didn't even realize that I was being assaulted until seconds in, and the punches came from everywhere on my head and my face, and I was bleeding out of my eyes and ears, and then they threw all the drinks in my eyes to humiliate me further and to laugh at me. And I was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance and CT scan, and I had subarachnoid hemorrhage, which is bleeding in the brain. I nearly died. And after surviving that, the reporting that I saw in liberal media it seemed to suggest that I had deserved it because they branded me far right. And some even went so far as to suggest that I maybe faked my injuries. A BuzzFeed reporter asked for my medical records, which I did provide, but this felt so, it's like because I didn't die in that attack, there was another round of people who wanted to finish me off. But I continued, and then 2020, Portland was really the epicenter of the longest political violence. Those months of riots, I was on the ground, undercover, and there was an assassination there. There was a supporter of Donald Trump named Aaron Danielson who was shot dead by a self-described Antifa member who then fled out of state and died in a shootout with mass marshals. In 2021, I returned
Trump saying like, bruh,
thinking that enough time had
you got maybe 45 seconds to wrap this up before I straight doze on you, bro. These eyes are heavy. Look at that heavy blink. Trump about to fall. Look at it. Anybody else gonna talk?
The person who's choking,
look at it. I'm tired, bro. See you stop.
The blood, the vessels.
Hey, those. Listen, bro. I'm gonna have to.
My eyes were completely red after that, and I was.
That's one of those. If you know you've been in the meeting before, that's a professional leaning. Like, bro, I'm about to doze the fuck off. Please, shut the fuck up. That's what one of those is. Like, that's a professional leaning right now. Especially in a political meeting. You will find people sleep.
Centralized, autonomous.
That's a head nod. He's sad sweet. Wake up. Wake it up, Trump.
It's a figment of our imagination.
Hey, Bonzi.
I think
Bonzina.
Look at federal conspiracy charges. The state of California and San Diego.
Listen, those blinks getting heavy.
In San Diego.
Look
I
at
think
Trump.
maybe perhaps the State Department should designate Antifa.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my bad. Let me go back. Look at that.
Foreign
Look at
terrorist
that.
Organization, FTO. So thank you so much for this invitation, Mr. President.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Andy. Great. That's a rough time you had, huh? So the chokeout was almost the end, you felt?
Yeah, that was my only near-death experience in my life, and I'm quite shaken when I think about it now. It really feels unbelievable to me that on the streets of America that this type of violence against citizens could become so routine and accepted.
Oh, yeah,
and cheered
it's
on by
very
people.
routine.
Although, you know, in the immediate aftermath of Mr. Kirk's assassination, we saw again that type of depravity play out on quite large swaths of the left. So there's a deep sickness that's in this country right now, and it pains me a lot.
I just want to know for the members from Minnesota that were killed by the right wing, where was the concern about the political violence then, right? Poor Charlie Kirk, rest in peace, respectfully, right? For the sanctity of life, I have reverence for life. Leave it there. I think that there's a deeper conversation instead of just saying, hey, left wing's crazy, right wing's crazy. I remember Charlottesville. Y'all remember Charlottesville? Jews will not replace us? Remember they walked through and said, like, was that the left wing? Or was that the right wing? Because all of a sudden, even though that wasn't political violence, I'm quite sure, no, it was because somebody got drove through and dead from that, right? Didn't they kill a young lady in Charlottesville? From those protests? Would that be political violence? Free speech, right? But I honestly think that we need to take a deeper look at all the crime and all the things that are happening in America. From political violence all the way through to say, damn, are we okay? Because when they're going in these schools and shooting up kids, or you having these little kids threatening to blow up schools, where's the issue? Is it left wing or right wing when the 11-year-old does it and threatens to blow up a school in a different state? Or are we just attacking people because we need a reason to? Like, let's be for real. Let's be fucking for real. We have a problem in America. People don't want to address. We want to be mad at everybody. No, let's be mad at the fact of the matter of, hey, we got some fucked up people out here in these streets. That's the facts. And they raising kids. And your kids going to school with my kids, and guess what? I don't know that you raising your kid to be crazy as shit. So why don't we stop pointing the finger on the left wing, the right wing? Let's put on A. Why don't we fix what the fuck? Do we need to go back to church? How about we put God back in the church for real? Let's put religion back in the school. If that's what we need. No, let's get back to it.
The amazing thing is you look at
Thank you for liking and subscribing.
and you see fires all over the place. You see fights and, I mean, just violence. It's just so crazy. And then you talk to the governor. And
Jordan, I think both sides quietly promote their own sense of violence.
It's almost like, are you waking up from a dream or something? You see it on your network. You see it all over the place. And it's so bad. It's so crazy. It's like...
A quick sidebar. I know they get tired of me cutting the president off, but y'all here, thank you. But then you also have this Attorney General candidate, a Democrat in Virginia, who threatened to kill a member and their 2 kids. So yes, there is political violence. People are mentally fucked up. People are mentally fucked up. How are you going to text? You're an elected official, a Democrat, whatever. How are you going to text another elected official that you have 3 bullets and you want to put maybe 2 of them in that person's kids? Or that person? What kind of sick deranged shit are we living in America, bro? These are elected officials. Yeah, they could be Democrats. Yeah, they could be Republicans. It don't matter. They don't put that shit on your fucking tombstone, do they? Here lies the Republican. Here lies the Democrat. No, bitch, it says the name and the dates, and you get a dash. And in that dash, that motherfucker was crazy. A lot of crazy people out here in the street.
The movies you see for the kids, I guess not only the kids, adults also, where you have these bombed out cities and these bombed out people. It's like worse than that. I don't think they could make a movie as bad. And then the governor will get up and say, I don't know why they're coming here. It's such a wonderful place. And the amazing thing is the people want us to be there. The people.
Sorry, I'm going to stop talking.
That live there, many of them have left. But the real people want us to be. The same thing in Chicago. So they've had 60, 70 murders.
Thank y'all for tapping into it. I appreciate y'all.
Murders. People that got shot. They've had hundreds of people shot. And then a guy like Pritzker, or this low IQ mayor, gets up. I mean, he got up. He's got a 5% approval rating.
Why everybody black have a
The people
low
are all
IQ?
against him. They want people to come. Beautiful black women are wearing a MAGA hat last night on television. Beautiful people. And they said, we don't care who comes, just stop the crime. They don't care, frankly, they don't care if it's National Guard and military. Send in anybody you want, stop the crime. And they're afraid to go out. They can't even go out. And then a guy like Pritzker, think of that, 50, 60, 70 people over a short period of time murdered, actually murdered, mostly gun violence, but knives, but gun violence, they're murdered, and hundreds of people shot. They had one weekend where they had like 18 murdered and 71 shot. But they said, you know what their excuse is? Yeah, but it was a long weekend. In other words, it was a long weekend, so that was okay. And then Pritzker gets up and he says, like, I don't know what they're talking about. We don't have crime here. They're crazy. I think actually they're petrified. You know, their families live there, everything else. I actually think they're scared. Pritzker was a failure in his family. They threw him out of the family business.
Damn, what?
Guy's a loser. But you know what? They actually, I believe they're scared. They're actually frightened for their lives.
Trump say whatever, bro. He don't care. That's wrong with Democrats. Democrats want to care. Trump don't care. We live in a troll society, bro.
And holding this this roundtable. Antifa is real. Antifa has been around in various iterations for almost 100 years in some instances, going back to the Weimar Republic in Germany. And it's now been just under 1 month since we saw a far leftist murder Charlie Kirk, and we saw thousands upon thousands of people, other far leftists and people in positions of authority, people like nurses and pilots and doctors and HR departments, celebrating the death and the murder of Charlie Kirk. This sickness that's out there is absolutely real. And Mr. President, thank you for mentioning the fact that one of the bullet casings read, "Hey fascist, catch" on it. One of the other bullet casings right next to that had Bella Ciao written on it. Now, Bella Ciao is a song that is known in Antifa circles as the international anthem of Antifa. And all of us around the world, around this room that have studied Antifa, we're very familiar with these symbols. And Mr. President, I think the situation is getting worse. When you look at people like Luigi Maggioni, in his 20s, Thomas Matthew Crooks, of course, who took a shot at you, sir, the ICE shooter in Dallas, and now this Tyler Robinson, we're starting to see a pattern of more and more murderous violence. And this same violence is not just random. It is targeted assassinations, which are getting worse. And every single one of us in this room that goes out there, and obviously you as well, sir, and all the staff, we are now under that threat every single day. And working there at Turning Point USA, and I've spent just about the last month out there in Phoenix with Erica, with the family, with the team. And I will tell you this, Mr. President, even though going through something like that, which is an absolute nightmare, and people say, you know, what was it like to speak in front of all those people? It was horrible. Every second of it was horrible. But we're not going to quit. And Turning Point USA is continuing the tour that Charlie was on. We had 6,000 people when we went back to Utah. We had 5,000 people last night in Montana, if you can believe that. We are continuing to organize on campus. We are getting more and more people coming out in the face of this threat, knowing what happened to Charlie. But Mr. President, we need to do something about this, because I fear that the next one who could be killed could be sitting at this table right now.
Wait, what?
We're not going to stop, but they need to stop, and they will not stop until they are stopped.
So they know. Wait. So did JD Vance just say that they know who the people gonna kill next? And like what? Mr. Vice President, what are we saying? What?
One thing I have to say is that Washington, D.C. was almost as bad. I don't know what could be worse than Portland. They don't even have stores anymore. They don't even put glass up. They put plywood on their windows. But most of the retailers have left. But Washington, D.C. was so bad. And Pam, I'd say it took 12 days to really make it pretty good.
What?
And a month to make it great. And now people are going out to dinner. The restaurants are booming. They don't have enough seats. They're opening up new restaurants because many of them closed. and people are walking down the street totally safe. A reporter, I'm not sure if she's there. I can't see somebody reported it. She is. She was violently assaulted. And I don't know, she tends to be somewhat liberal, but she wasn't liberal on this one. I appreciated your honesty, but that won't happen again. It won't happen again. You're lucky you're alive, frankly, with what happened. I know exactly what took place. So Washington, D.C., our capital, we thought we'd start there appropriately, and it's safe, and people are so happy. They're so happy. And now it's a couple of months. I went to dinner there. I felt totally safe. I gave a press conference right in the middle of the street, which I don't think Secret Service was thrilled about. But, you know, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have wanted to do it 6 months ago. It's incredible what happened. Now we're in Memphis. As you know, we're having a great impact in Memphis. It's been only a week, but it's, Kash, I hear it's been amazing what's happening there, just very early. But you take a look at D.C. and you take a look at some of the other. We've had a big impact. What we haven't said, because Pritzker said, well, crime is going down in Chicago. Well, 5 months ago, Kash went to Chicago with a lot of FBI agents just to prepare it so that we went in with, I guess you could call it a surge, call it whatever you want, but would be even more effective. And we're going to be doing that, and very, very strongly doing that, because Chicago is a very unsafe city. It's a great city. The head of the Union Pacific Railroad said, sir, please save Chicago. It's a great city. It can be saved.
And you know what? Some people, we did it the other day when we were streaming. Right, I'm going to go to the Chicago Sun-Times. Let me just flip it up for my vertical people that are with me on the stream. And not to cut the president off, but we have to be real about crime in Chicago, about this narrative, right? So let me try to straighten this up. Give me 2 seconds. The technicalities of it, right? Chicago Sun-Times and just the headlines. Because what Trump is saying, it gets to an aspect of saying, okay, cool, what's really happening? These are the headlines. Man's body found gagged in Bridgeport apartment. Boy shot to death in Washington Park neighborhood. Boy 16 shot and wounded. Roseland, right? Let me make sure that y'all can see it. Just making sure I ain't BSing. Man killed when law. Yeah, we already covered that the other day, right? But not only having a map of listing of every crime that happens throughout the city. We want to click this and see. Let's just interactive map. I don't feel like going through all the JavaScript. Y'all know, if y'all know JavaScript, I'm not doing all that. Man shot and killed at Auburn Gresham. Man fatally shot at West Garfield Park. Some of these are basically like happening. Man shot in the loop. This is where we left off the other day. The man shot in the loop article was front page 2 days ago. But now man's body found gagged in the Bridgeport apartment is number one. So all collectively put together, even the 16-year-old boy that shot, there are things that are happening. Now, I did talk to a friend of mine the other day. He said, you know what? You look at Chicago, they're the 4th largest city in America by population. I think maybe 10% of the crime is happening. Okay, I get that to an extent. But it's still a fact of, I guess, a rampantness of the crime, to where just the deployment of the National Guard should stop some of the bullshit, respectfully. But then also a fact of realizing that there's some people out here who have warrants who will get caught up in the feeder bands of this week.
Other cities are gone. I mean, they're lost. They can get better, but they're just really, they've been so decimated. But I'm so proud of what they've done so quickly in D.C. And it's taking place quickly in Memphis, where we were asked to go by the mayor and by the governor. And it's really incredible what we can do and how fast we can do it. Let's go for 2 more. Would you like to go? And then Katie, you'll go. Okay, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President, for having us here. And not to sound like a broken record, but it needs to be said that Antifa is real. Yeah. It's real. It's a threat. I just saw them last weekend over in Portland while they're causing mayhem over there. And the reason why they're such a big problem is because we have Democrats and a lot of people in the mainstream media refusing to acknowledge that they even exist, right? So how can we as a country begin to address it is when you have large swaths of these people who are supposedly decision makers and people who are supposed to inform, they don't want to say that it exists.
Hey James, I'm with you. James Arnold, welcome back, baby.
Because the common argument is like, well, they're not a real organization because there's no national leadership, they don't have a national headquarters, so how can law enforcement go after a group that doesn't exist like that? It was well, law enforcement goes after criminal groups that organize to rob banks or do smash and grabs. They don't have a registered LLC, they don't have official membership cards, they don't have a business address, but law enforcement still goes after them because
You know
we're
what time it is,
working as a
baby.
group. These people don't just show up,
Welcome to the stream.
randomly at the same time to do the same thing, just in very similar fashion, espousing the same ideology. And they say, well, it's an ideology. It's like, well, yes, it's an ideology because there's people alive, present, that believe in it, and they're acting on it. And so I've been very well aware of what Antifa's been doing. I was very busy during the riots in 2020. That was probably my most exposure to them prior to this year. I've been at the ICE facility at Broadview. I'm originally from the Chicagoland area, unfortunately, but that's where I grew up around. Like I said, I was in Portland. I was covering the riots in Los Angeles as well. And probably one of the most disturbing parts about that is, in addition to Antifa,
Yeah, James, we have
being
that.
present, they were tagging the streets with CJNG, which is cartel.
We have the smoke detector battery sound. So we do understand that when I watch gamers stream and other black people stream, there is an occasion where you will hear that smoke detector battery go off, right? Cool. But I've added to my soundboard because I do believe we have black issues to discuss. So I'm thinking of naming it like smoke detector battery news. Some people have said like the baby mama calling bird, the baby mama signal, bat signal. Yeah, the baby mama bat signal. That's one. And the African ceiling bird. Amazing. But anyway, get back to Trump. Thank y'all for tapping in. Make sure you like, subscribe. Hit the subscribe at the top. We just hit 7,000 subscribers the other day. I think we surpassed 7,200. We're on the way up. Hopefully get 8,000 before the month's up. Hopefully get 10 real soon too. But either way, thank y'all for tapping in with me.
That wasn't someone dressed in black bloc. That was just somebody that had taken upon themselves to go out and try to interfere and ram federal vehicles. So people are becoming more and more radicalized, and it was to be expected, unfortunately. And the reason why we're in this position today is because after I was done covering the riots, I was at the border from the San Diego sector all the way down to the Rio Grande Valley sector, covering the border crisis month after month. And we all knew the solution to that. We all knew why it was happening. It's because, well, it's racist to have a border. It's like, well, actually, it's not, but okay. And so it required you to come back into office and to fix the problem, but it's no longer just a border issue. It's a nationwide issue, and that's one of the reasons why you got elected back into office, because thankfully the American people said we're not going to deal with it anymore. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people, as we've seen, who are willing to take to the streets to do violence. And that's a scary thing, because typically when I was in 2020, I was covering Minneapolis, Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle. I was over in Chaz. And that was to be expected. But now, because the issue of immigration, illegal immigration, is so widespread, riots can happen anywhere. Attacks can happen anywhere. So that's why it was weird kind of going back to my home state to cover this violence. I mean, just after the Dallas shooting, they were chanting outside Broadview, shoot ICE, shoot those, efforts, shoot those efforts. So I'll just leave that. Thank you so much again for having this. This is very dangerous. We don't work for companies that have billions of dollars. We're running and gunning often on our own. We became friends. A lot of us are friends because we would see each other all the time, and we became friends because we wanted to have someone watch our back while we're out there. Because like I said, we're just out there. And but we'll continue to do it because it's an important topic. It's an important issue. The American people deserve to know what's happening in these chaotic situations, and we're more than happy to do it.
Yeah, so people need facts too. That is nonsense.
Katie, please.
Hi, Mr. President. It is an honor being here today, and I first wanted to start by thanking you guys for designating Antifa a terrorist group. It's exactly what this group is. It's a long time coming. I'm an investigative journalist from Seattle. I work for the Post Millennial alongside Andy Ngo and Jack Posobiec. I have been infiltrating Antifa cells in Seattle and Portland for the past decade. I know their inner workings, and Antifa uses extreme political violence to crush the civil rights of their political enemies and believes that violence is justified by any means necessary. But today, I want to focus on what is happening in Portland at the ICE facility. I've been covering this for the past 4 months, and this is a call out to corporate media who has completely ignored this story or has falsely reported on it. This is nothing short other than a sustained attack on the United States, which is being supported by Democratic elected officials. The Portland Police Bureau has completely abandoned several blocks outside the ICE facility, giving away their jurisdiction to a terrorist group who who has spent the past 4 months harassing, assaulting, and intimidating anyone they perceive to be against their cause. Not only have federal agents been relentlessly assaulted for more than 100 consecutive days, black-clad anarchist militants concealing their identities behind black facial coverings have been assaulting reporters just for trying to cover their crimes. Today, I am sitting here with a black eye and a concussion after being violently hit in the face with a metal pole while reporting outside the ICE facility just this past week. After the attack, I immediately went to three Portland police officers who refused to detain the suspect. I took the time to chase down the suspect in the streets, had her held for 35 minutes. I was waiting for Portland police to come, and they never came. Then that's what opened to my eyes to what this group is actually doing. I watched 20 Antifa militants help my assault suspect escape into an Antifa safe house that is 1 block away from the ICE facility.
We didn't lose connection. I feel sorry she ain't Paul got a black eye. I ain't gonna hold you. She's a female. That's unfortunate. I don't know what the fuck that safe house is because it's right by the freeway and in downtown Portland. So where the hell is the freeway downtown Portland? I'm trying to figure. I've seen some bunkers. I hope that white tent they have down there isn't what the fuck she talking about in the safe house, but that's unfortunate.
And
that's fucked
this
up.
safe house is where Antifa affiliated protesters are conducting paramilitary operations. It's where they're arresting, they're showering,
found out
they're
Antifa ain't playing that shit.
I have staked out this safe house and have observed shift changes. This group is highly organized. It is being funded through mutual aid groups, and they have no plans of stopping. Residents living across the ICE facility have been held hostage by Antifa. They're begging for federal intervention. The city refuses to help, and they want you, President Trump, to come in and restore law and order. I want to stress the importance of taking this situation seriously because when I first started reporting on this occupation, I went undercover in Black Bloc. I talked to these Antifa militants. I lasted for about a month. They believe that ICE agents are the Nazi Gestapo who need to be killed. They told me that directly, and I think that if this situation is not taken as seriously as it is, it's just a matter of time before someone gets killed. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Better heal up. Get some ice on
incredible.
that, man.
The only question nobody can answer is why. Why are they doing this? They're like insurrectionists. They're terrible people. But you really wonder why. Why are they doing it? What are they gaining other than they're obviously paid? They're paid a lot of money. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, if I can answer that question, the reason why they're doing it is because the same media that's sitting in this room with us has declared all of us at this table Nazis and fascists, and they've been doing this for years. This is why Antifa feels emboldened to attack us. Now, almost every single person at this table has been threatened with a steel bat. We've been assaulted, we've been harassed, we've been threatened, and that is in huge part due to the media. So my message right now is for you guys, because 2 years ago, back in 2020, by the way, I was censored for my reporting on Antifa here in Washington, D.C. You were talking about how safe it is. Now, Mr. President, it wasn't so safe back then. Back in 2020, I watched as a father was being mobbed and surrounded by Antifa members as his terrified, crying children looked on and the police here did nothing. I watched as a woman had her hair violently ripped out of her skull simply for waving an American flag on the streets of Washington, D.C. And by the way, if you guys try to go and find any of this footage, you won't find any of it because Twitter deleted all of it because our president shared my reporting and they deleted my entire account immediately after. So now, if you want to know what happened in 2020, all you're going to see is the media headlines that said that it was fiery but mostly peaceful. Thanks for that one, CNN. The reality is that it was an extremely violent period of time, and for the last 10 years, Antifa has been wreaking havoc on law-abiding and innocent American citizens, and it needs to end. Now, I'm with Turning Point USA. It's an honor to be here, Mr. President. Thank you guys so much, everybody in the administration, for giving us a seat at the table, because the media has not only been demonizing us for so long, but immediately after the brutal assassination of our founder, Charlie Kirk, our Turning Point USA chapters have seen an uptick in violence across the nation as Antifa chapters that are embedded in our universities go and target
My bad, y'all. My bad. Hold on. I just realized that the audio went out. Give me 1 second. My bad. Again, it's not me. It's something with It's something with either OBS or my Mac.
And Texas by
Well, I
Antifa,
streamed for a while,
that nobody
and
would
audio
come
just
to help
cuts.
me. So my plea to the entire administration,
Sorry about that,
especially
y'all.
to the DOJ, is every single radical left-winger who is in front of the
Thank you,
ICE
like and
facility in
subscribe.
Chicago, in New York, in Portland, please make sure that you use the full force of the law to come after each and every single one of them, because it is us being soft on left-wing violence that has fomented all of the terror that we have seen in this country, and it is the left wing getting away time and time again with assaulting law-abiding American citizens that has led us to this place. So truly,
I'm not even gonna hold you, right? There's some crazy ass environmentalist liberals out here in these streets. There's some crazy ass Democrats out here in these streets that just don't have no plan of action, who just, hey, this everything's racist, everything's a problem, Trump's a problem. There are a lot of dingbats out here, but I haven't met any of these damn Democrats. My 15 plus years in politics, they don't want to kill nobody. Now, I'm not saying they're not out here and don't exist. What I'm saying is that, again, crime is just not left wing, right wing. These people are mentally fucking insane, okay? Can you say that today? Can you call people insane? You can call people the R word, the N word, everything else. People are the I word. People are fucking insane, okay? That's what's the problem with America. I'm not putting a political party on people's sanctity. People are just crazy. You know why? Because we're exposed to too much in the world. Social media has made people crazy. They're depressed in life, and guess what they're doing? Taking other people's life. Bitch, take your own. Make sure you like and subscribe. Back to it. Why call me again?
to the Americans that I speak to on the ground, they feel completely abandoned by their state and local government. So please step in. You have Americans begging for the National Guard. And to the media over here, please report on the truth. Please do your jobs. I'm an American citizen. Everybody at this table simply views ourselves as American citizens who have an iPhone and the will to actually tell the truth. So please take your job seriously and tell the truth to the American people. And thank you for letting me be here on behalf of Charlie to continue his legacy of cleaning up the country. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Wow, you feel very strongly, I can see.
I'm mad. I got beat up so many times, Mr. President. My friends have gotten beaten up, and I want to cry right now from happiness because we have been completely ignored for so long. For almost 10 years, we've been getting assaulted on the streets. I have watched children cry as their parents have been attacked on the streets. That should not be happening at our nation's capital. So please, again, the DOJ, please utilize the full force and go after each and every single one of these people.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Great job.
Oh, she was crying like a bitch. My wife wasn't talking some nonsense, bro. I would have paid attention,
Please,
but I
go
ain't got
ahead.
time.
Mr. President, thank you for having us here and bringing together this panel of brave journalists, everybody on this side of the room. And no one can speak to the violence better than these people here. So I think we know that this is not just a story about violence and chaos, as you alluded to, Mr. President.
I don't know what they're talking about. I'm not going to pause it no more right now, right? I'm going to give a shout out to my chat. Every single one of y'all who've grown from 400 to 7,000 plus subscribers. Listen, we have the best chat on YouTube. Salute to yourself.
Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Salute to yourself. We have the best chat on the internet because, listen, if I don't think it, y'all going to say it. If I'm not saying it, y'all going to think it and post it, man. I really appreciate y'all. But we know Trump has surrounded himself. Why are blacks so dumb? See, here we go. It's always one. It's always one that's going to come in here with the bullshit. Well, guess what?
Yes! Fuck you too!
Hey, I ain't worried about it. You ain't even get the rest of the clicks. But guess what? Thank y'all for tapping in because you know and I know they're talking, but Trump has put a group of people around him, a bunch of yes men that's going to help him implement this takeover of Portland, Chicago, and other places. And it's kind of crazy. But we're going to get here. I have maybe 5 more minutes. I actually had to run to the store and get some groceries. My wife wants me to cook salmon tonight, so I got to be a dad and a husband tonight. Maybe working on another baby. You never know, because, you know, when daddy start being daddy, you know, daddy got to get rewarded too. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
But dozens of radical
Y'all know what I'm talking
that
about.
have received more than $100 million from the Riot Inc. investors. These would be the lawyer groups. These would be the groups that advocate for calling good, honest Americans fascists, et cetera. And then 3, I think the most shocking thing is that we have found that more than $100 million in U.S. taxpayer funding has flowed into these funding networks, including at least $4 million to these very groups themselves, not just Antifa types, but There was an event in Atlanta called Stop Cop City. Over 60 rioters were charged with domestic terrorism.
Hey, I appreciate you
These
tapping
groups
in.
received money for that
Profit.
from both the
Thank you for the
billionaire
comment,
class
too. I
as
really
well as
appreciate that.
taxpayer money. So, one other thing, this money helps fund the decentralized crowdfunding platforms. These are ways that Antifa, the John Brown Gun Club of Elm Fork, which had links to that attack on the ICE facility, the Socialist Rifle Association, and just because they don't have LLCs or EIN numbers doesn't mean they can't get paid. Some of these funding platforms, crowdfunding platforms, are funded by this network that we call Riot Inc. So again, I want to thank you for your leadership, for the whole cabinet's leadership on this. We're going to keep following the money and appreciate everything you're doing, sir.
Do you know the name of any of the funders? Do you know the names? Because if you do, I'd like you to give them to Kash or Pam.
Absolutely.
Or Kristi.
Yeah, we'll do that.
As soon as you can. That's all of you. Because you probably know the names after a certain period of time. You tend to find out. But these are people that do not have good intention for the country.
Eddie Murphy's my favorite comedian of all time.
Treasonous,
God, I had to put
probably.
Eddie on the
So
soundboard,
if
make
you
it
could,
fucking spots.
very important, if you could do that, that would be great. Nobody would know better than you. You'll figure it out. Thank you. Please, go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Nick Shirley. I'm 23 years old. I'm a 100% independent YouTube journalist. And over the past year or so, I've been able to go to 15 countries. I've hung out with people in the gangs of Brazil, in the favelas, in the prisons of Secot. But yet the most dangerous places I have been here in the United States, unfortunately. And I've had the opportunity to show people about the protest Antifa here in the United States, and there's nothing organic about what they are doing here in the United States. I've watched people be bussed in from states. I've watched the same lady at a protest in Atlanta be bussed to the protest in DC and then in New York City. There's nothing that is honest about what they are doing. And they have signs. I've seen the same signs here in DC and in London as well. It's a big organization and corporation that they're running. And people may wonder, like, what's the threat to us as Americans if we go? Well, you'll be labeled as a fascist, you'll be labeled as a Nazi, and they'll wish death upon you because they wish death upon me. And just last week in Portland, Oregon, I watched a lady get trapped in her car, surrounded by Antifa, and her sister messaged me after seeing the video. She said, the only reason I think my sister was safe is because you were there recording. I also was chased out by a member of Antifa who said he would smoke me, and next thing he knew, a DHS sniper had lasers on his chest. If he was not there, who knows what would have happened that day. These people are very dangerous, and people wonder how they're able to do it. It's the reason is because these cities are not enforcing the law. And why should these people be worried if the law is not being enforced? And
you know, honestly, respectfully, Chad, I just can't sit here and deal with the rest of this. We understand. I think I'm just make this full screen. I'm gonna cut off I gotta go be a dad and be a husband, so I gotta go to the store, right? But I'm gonna sign off here like this. Thank y'all for tapping in for the stream. Thank y'all for tapping in. I just can't sit here and watch Trump put a lot of yes men and journalists around this issue. Now, have there been riots and protests in Portland? Yes. Chicago, has there been crime? Yes. Memphis, hell yes. But I'm not just blaming it on the left wing. I'm not just blaming it on the right wing. We have a mental health condition in America where people use crime and violence as the answer, and that is not okay. Especially when for 300 plus years, violence was okay in America, and all of a sudden we come to a place where we realize you can't just have a duel and blow somebody's head off for shit, right? You actually have to have a conversation. We cannot just kill people for have differing opinions. But that's where we are now in America. And Antifa or other people are out there protesting and they're going against it and they're being labeled. And regardless of it, I don't think that helps open the federal government. For seniors out here who need their money, for poor people who need their health care, the veterans, our armed service members that we're deploying to these cities. Well, what are we talking about? Regardless, thank y'all for taking time out of your day for the stream. Didn't go as long as we wanted to. Guess what? My wife called me. She told me, hey, I can do pickup today, but I need you to go to the store and get the salmon and stuff. So guess what? I'm going to go be a husband and a father and a daddy because I may be getting some ass tonight. Y'all know what time it is. Like, let's be, like, to the dads out here, you know, you gotta put up some cabinets, cut the grass, do a whole lot of shit to get a little bit of ass. And it's okay. It's life. But I would rather be in a situation where I'm taking care of my family, my wife, and loving my life and connecting with y'all on the stream. But more than anything, thank y'all for taking time out of the day. But remember,
All I ask is when you lay your head on that pillow at night, know I gave you everything I had.
Hey, and thank y'all for tapping in today. We had about 16,000 people tap in, about 319 of y'all still here, or 200. Y'all getting two different numbers right here. Over 200 people here right now. Thank you. Taking time out of your day. Make sure you subscribe. I'm logging out. I got to go get my thing, do my thing. And guess what? We may have another baby on the way. Guess what? Y'all have a good day. I'm out.